Today off with an update on the whole young Philly situation, because it has got a lot worse. Now, honestly, this must have been the most expensive weekend of his entire life. Because just as we spoke about in the last video, creators and brands have started distancing themselves from Mr. Philly. Now, the first one that I saw was the Sidemen obviously removed their 20 versus 1 edition. That actually happened as I was recording the last video, which, I mean, had 42 million views. So that would have been a painful one to remove. The FA cancelled a new show that was going to have Philly cooking alongside other big Premier League players like Saka. His brand deals with ASOS have all been deleted. His sauce that he had with Heinz.
I ain't gonna lie to you, that secret sauce looked kind of good. I might try that. I didn't know that was out. If I could find one. If you got one, bro, let me know.
Clothing line with Perplex has been taken down. Foot Asylum announced that they are suspending their contract with young Philly with immediate effect. His dating show with Gymshark called Hit Off has now been unlisted. His first live show for the Chunks and Philly podcast has now been cancelled, and the producers of that show, Upload Productions, well, they said that they are pausing all and any work with young Philly. And I mean, to give you a sense of this, there are even articles being written for brands about advice of like what they should do now that young Philly's been arrested.
Bro, a website dedicated to telling you how to cancel you, how to deal with the cancel is mad. Like, is it this deep, chat? I'm not saying the accusation isn't deep, but is his situation this deep? That's what we're waiting for.
I mean, I told you guys, young Philly, he was deep with the brands. And for someone his size, I don't even want to imagine how much money, just all of the things that I've listed, would have cost him just being dropped. And this is all before the verdict has even come out yet. Oh, and we haven't even started talking about the whole creator side of this thing too. Because just like he was with brands, do you know how many creators, like the videos that he's collabed in with other channels? Now, I do expect creators to be on the side of, they're gonna wait until there is a verdict. But hypothetically, if that verdict is guilty, I mean, just like the Sidemen have already done, I think there's gonna be a lot of videos that just poof, disappear, and it's going to be painful for a lot because again, there's a lot of videos out here with a lot of views. I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen to the Chunks and Philly podcast. Who knows? But things only get crazier from there, because Philly is currently out on a $200,000 conditional bail until his next court date on the 19th of December. And just some of those conditions being that he's had to surrender his passport. So bro's not going anywhere for the next 2 months. And I don't imagine the hotel that he's going to be staying in is very cheap. He has to frequently check in with police. He can't contact the alleged victim. And he is not allowed to comment about it.
Bro, I'm gonna lie to you. I feel like it just go a bit worse. I feel like it's getting worse at every hour probably for him, bro.
Any of this on social media. Now, here's the thing. If he is found innocent, he will be able to return back to the UK and hopefully, continue with his career. But, I mean, at that point, I think a lot of the damage would have already been done. And I imagine if that is the case, he will be majorly suing this individual for damages. But if he is found guilty, not only will pretty much every brand and creator never work with him again, destroying his entire career pretty much overnight, but it's likely that he would have to serve that sentence in Australia and not be extradited back to the UK, which I would imagine would make it just that much worse for him. Now, this is not a certainty, but extradition back to the UK would typically not be considered unless there were very unique circumstances, like agreements from the governments together. Now, this is because the crime was allegedly committed in Perth, and legal proceedings for serious criminal offenses like
damn.
To run Windows on your Mac.
Perth, chat.
Parallels desk.
Perth is wild,
assault,
man.
well, they generally result in the convicted person serving time in the country where the crime allegedly occurred. Now, if we get any other major updates before his next court date, I will keep you updated, but let's move on. Now, this week we also...
Okay, that's what we needed to know, chat. That's pretty wild, man. I don't know how you're gonna get out of that. That is a sticky sitchy.